Definitely random, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally, it's based on the sticker.
UC7NWS.
Got it.
No?
Yep, that's it.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You've probably already connected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Woo woo, I'm screen sharing, Amy.
We've been traveling a lot. Everywhere you go, it's a new thing, you know?
No, new
Yeah.
A
connection.
new way to connect.
So I thought it would be fun. I saw this article on how to create a Google form so that the kids can scan a QR code to get out of your room when they're leaving. The teacher used it specifically for a restroom break, but I think in the case of having the student I did last year who wandered the hallways like a homeless person, that it's good for any excuse to get out of your room. And they just take their iPad, they scan the QR code, they fill out the form, and you have a time and a date stamp of when they're leaving and the purpose of their leaving. And then for the data-driven district, none of us know what that is, you have an automatic tracking. So if Johnny is leaving every day at 10:01 and every day at 10:01 you're doing fast facts or you're doing reading instruction and it's fluency, you can say, well, I suspect that Johnny is leaving because he sucks at fast facts. And here's my proof. Every day at 10:01 he goes to the bathroom. Or he leaves at 10:01, he leaves at 10:21, he leaves at 10:41.
Right.
And he's going every 20 minutes.
Right.
You know, maybe we should look into that. So I thought it would be helpful to do that.
And how do we get to that?
So you're going to need to be logged into your Google Drive, and you're going to want to make sure that you're logged into the Google Drive that is linked to your Google Classroom, your school, your Lake Worth,
So
your Lake Worth account.
You have to do the first name dot last
Last name at LWISD.
Under Google Drive or Google Classroom?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, doesn't matter.
Once you go into
It's
it
all
launches.
linked together. But the reason you want to do that is if you were to link it to, say, like right now I'm in my personal Google, okay? And I have my forms open. The reason that you want to have it in your school account is because GAFE, Google Apps for Education, is protected. And the kids' information, it's a higher security level than your personal. Your personal comes with a high security level, but GAFE is particularly protected because no company wants to be sued because a whole bunch of kids' stuff got violated. The fines that they would have to pay the federal government if that stuff got released is astronomical. It would put Google out of business. So, so it's really highly protected. So because you're dealing with kids and they're protected by things like HIPAA and the student and FERPA and all of those things.
It's not
Well, for some of them it is HIPAA.
It would, I guess for some it
For
would
some
be.
it
I
is
guess for
HIPAA.
some it would be HIPAA. Yeah, I guess it
So
would be.
some of it is HIPAA and some of it is FERPA but anyway, it's protected. So you're going to go into your drive, and in your drive, you're going to click on new.
Is that the little plus button? Sorry.
The little plus button is if you're in Google Classroom, you're going to.
Oh, now, so how do I go from here to Google Drive?
So you're going to go into your drive. The drive is the triangle icon.
So up in the
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Here? No.
That's add a classroom. Are you in your class? But you're signed in through your classroom. Do you have Google Drive on your iPad? It looks like a little triangle.
Wouldn't I have to?
As an icon?
Yeah.
But you could just type in Google Drive from.
You should be able to type in drive.google.com.
Or I just normally do Google Drive.
Or you can type in Google Drive in the locator bar.
Google Drive?
Mm-hmm. But because you're in Classroom, you're already signed into your Lake Worth account.
Okay.
It'll find you.
Give it just a minute.
okay, I'm in Drive, and you said new.
Click on new.
So is that
It looks
just the
like-
plus sign?
Nope, it should be.
It looks like it's going to the.
What?
I know we have it.
It went to the app. Okay, back up.
Yeah.
But I should have it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have it. I just didn't.
We
Try
need to go to the App
the,
Store and search for it there.
let's
Well,
try
that's where it tried to go. It wanted
Yeah.
to download it from the App Store.
But
my
I should have
drive.
had it because I have all this other stuff. But maybe
Sure.
There it is.
There it is.
I was gonna say, I think I'm
Okay.
not looking right.
The app is a little bit
Yeah,
different
obviously,
than
that's what-
having it.
Okay.
I need to put it all together
Let
in
me-
one
In
little.
a folder.
Yeah, but I haven't done that.
I have it.
Have you? I know you've been doing some schoolwork. Have you
I
been?
think maybe I'm sorry.
Have you been doing any school stuff? No,
I
me
literally
neither.
make myself not do it. I can bring up school and then stop. It took me a month to be compressed.
No, me
Heck.
too. Uh-oh.
I've been drinking out of this thing all morning. Now it decides it's going to dribble on me. Do you need more coffee?
Okay, so the triangle, I'm in my drive. Well, I think I'm. in
It
my
looks
drive.
like that's the icon for that.
Do I go to my drive?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
different here. So what are we trying to do, Lindsay? So,
Well, we're trying to create a new form.
Okay.
Now,
That's
on
gonna be
mine,
that's just gonna
See,
be
on your
plus.
laptop, this is how it looks when you're on a web. So you're gonna have new, and you'll click on it.
See, and I'm used to doing it at school, so I should have applied.
But it's-
I'm not used to doing it.
But
And
it
So I
is
need the plus
here.
sign?
It is the plus sign.
It is the
'cause
plus
then
sign.
It brings up this.
Yeah.
And
it's
then I
so-
need a new.
And then
so
you
you
need
want
new.
Doc
New
sheet,
doc.
slide,
You need new form. It should say more. You may have to scroll down a little bit.
or folder.
Hmm.
Mine won't go down any further.
It won't go down any further.
Wonder.
Try-
Hang on. I wonder.
Try
I don't have-
docs.google.com/forms.
I don't have forms downloaded on here.
Oh.
So I bet that's.
Maybe
I bet
don't
that's
either.
why.
I'm thinking
Why
I
it's not
have it on
showing
too, but it's because I've been
Um,
using it.
So, App Store.
So you may have to go into your app store and add forms. Forms is the purple one.
Did you just load this stuff quickly? I think it's my iPad.
Google Forms.
Yes,
Never
Google
load
Forms.
quickly.
What?
It never load quickly.
But
And
I'm not loading.
I'm
like
not
at
loading
all.
anything because I'm offline.
Loading like that.
Okay. Evidently, I don't have Google Forms either.
I thought I did because we were using, I took training classes
Yes,
in my
babe.
room. on my desktop.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, it'll be easier. there.
Okay. Oh, maybe I do have it because it didn't go to the App Store. So it says go to Google Forms.
There you go. So you're gonna open it up, and you're gonna start a new form.
Oh, it wants me to sign in. But maybe it'll.
So it's for you would be Sandra.Bellhumor at
Let's see if it goes. Maybe it will.
Not even coming up in this.
Okay. I must have it somehow or another and didn't know. Another time you gave it to me when I didn't remember what I was doing. Mine says an untitled form.
Yes,
Yep, you're where you need to be.
you're exactly where you need to be. It should look like this.
Mine looks much like that. Okay, I'm ready. I gotta go order some
Nothing really.
curtain rods for a bay window sometime today. I'm gonna change my.
I'm just gonna use my laptop.
It's easier for me to type on my laptop than it is my
It's easier for
iPad.
me too. I'm having
I should have said told everybody to bring their laptop up.
Everything.
Yeah, with the bayonet too.
So if you're gonna use it just for restroom pass, you probably want to title your form restroom pass. If you're gonna use it for out of class reasons, you might want to title your form out of class reasons, whatever purpose you're going to do. The little thing said, I'm going to just title mine restroom pass
Exit log.
or hallway pass.
Kinda what I think.
Did it want me to do? So now it looks like this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So It should say untitled form. What's going to happen is whatever you title it, that's going to become the default name of your form unless you change that.
Okay.
That's how.
So the next time I try to make a form, it's gonna have bathroom pass at the top and untitled, and I'll have to fix it.
Nope.
Nope.
This form in the way Google works is that when you type in a title, like when you're in Docs, the very first thing you type at the top of the page, that becomes the name of the document
Okay, yeah.
unless you change it. So for this purposes, if you remember that you saved it as hallway pass, this is always going to be hallway pass unless you change it.
Got it.
Okay. So if you typed in restroom pass at the top, the name of your form is going to be restroom pass.
Got it.
Okay. So when you go looking for it, that's what you're going to be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Then underneath it, you have form description. So you can leave that blank or you can type it in, like for restroom, office, phone, hallway, whatever, library. You can type in a short description that helps you know what this is for. Or you can type in directions to a student. Please complete this before you exit the room.
Okay, let me try that.
I was thinking, is there a way then we can tap and share this for like across our teams? Could we use this for a whole behavior log instead
Yes.
of just the restroom?
Yep.
Incorporate the restroom into the behavior log.
Yep.
So if I want to scan it and type in something of my own.
Yes, absolutely.
You won't have to scan
Absolutely.
it. All you have to do is share it with the rest of your team.
And in
But
Google
that's-
Forms, the new
okay.
share button is send. If you look at the top right on my screen, they just changed Google Forms. The new share button, only in Forms, not in
Okay.
Docs, not in Sheets, not in Slides, is now titled send.
Okay.
So that's how you share. So if you want to make it for the team, we can make one form for our team and we can share the code and all the data will be tracked.
And then I can either go, will I be able to enter the form from the back end? Like if I,
Mhm.
instead of doing, cause like you said, this is great for the kids, but if I just want to open it up.
Yep.
Type in there.
Well, and
I
you
think
could,
that would be
you
better.
could have another one
Because
that you use for your teachers.
Mhm.
This would be a place to have, right?
yes,
This would be a place to have them fill out their hall pass, but you could have an additional form that would be your behavior
But I'd
log.
like to track it all, because if I can see that so-and-so's been up 4 times in there, I can say, you know what, you've had 4 bathroom breaks today, it's time to get busy, we've had a little trouble focusing, but now
Yes.
it's time to get going.
And you can
what
see
it's
that.
going to do, Michelle, is once we create the form and we activate it, it creates, if you look, it says questions and responses. You can either look at the responses of the student individually every time they respond, or it will collate them all and it automatically dumps to a Google Sheet.
Right.
So everything comes up in a spreadsheet. So you can sort by the student's name, you can sort by time, you can sort by infraction, you can sort by excuse. You're going to be able to sort just like you can in any Excel spreadsheet.
Which would be a really good document since they're having parent conference days.
Yeah, this year we built those in,
Right.
so it would be nice.
So yes, exactly what you're talking about. I saw that you got up in Mrs. Foster's room and you went to the bathroom 15 minutes before you came to my class, and you've been up twice in Mr. Brown's
And
room.
maybe that would
and-
make more sense because we were deleting stuff, so it wouldn't get so busy, but maybe we need to treat it more like a database. I mean, I know it's a band sheet, and not worry about the formatting there and just use the form for us to input stuff, so we're not so overwhelmed with all the data. But-
And then when you're ready to do something with it, then you can sort it just like you used to
Mhm.
do.
You just sort it by the student
I
and
think that might be better.
and sort it. So then you start adding questions. So likely the first question that you're going to have, and know this, the order that you put the questions into the sheet is the order that the columns will appear in your sheet. Okay. So if you do name, that's going to be the column A in your spreadsheet.
Is that
And then-
editable? Can you edit that?
Well, the way Google Forms takes in the information is the way you put the order you put the questions in, that's how it creates the columns. You can move the questions within the form. So if you forget a question and you add it, you can just drag and drop it where you want it to be, but understand that if you have A through L columns of information, the next question you add is going to be M. Even if you move it, it's not going to move it within the spreadsheet. It's still going to tack it on to the end.
Okay.
So just know that, I added the question about why did you leave and da-da-da-da-da. That's going to be the last question. Whatever the last question you add in is going to be the last column on your spreadsheet.
So a little
So you can move it around, but when it puts information in, it's going to put them in based on the order that you added them.
So are we at the option? Is that what we're? I'm not.
Untitled question.
Yes, untitled question.
So I
Yes,
need to go
you're
to
right
option
there.
1?
Okay, so where it says untitled, that's where you're going to type the question. So I would put name in there, and then it says option. Now it defaults to a multiple choice question. Okay, for a name, you don't want a multiple choice question. You want the kid to put his name in the space. So you click on, you should have something where it says multiple choice, and you're going to go to short answer. And you might not want to put name. You might want to put first name and last name. Or you might want to put, you may want to do a field that says first name, and you might want to do a field that says last name. Those would be 2 separate questions, okay? If you want them to type their first name in one box and their last name to come up in a separate sortable box, you can do that. Because you never know. With our kids, you might get Batman as the answer.
We might want to make it multiple choice just for that.
How are you gonna make it?
I can make names multiple choice.
Oh, the name.
25 options.
Sorry, I'm thinking, sorry, I'm my head.
Well, you could do it. You could
Multiple
literally
choice.
import your class list and do a drop down where they check their name. But I think these, at least Howard kids, are at a point where they can type their name.
Yeah.
They're pretty good about that. And if they're going to be goofy and they're going to put in something like Batman, then you have proof for their parents that they're being goofy and they're not appropriately using digital resources, and probably they shouldn't have it for
I
today.
would be worried if it had an option that they'd pick other people's names.
That's what
I was
thinking,
thinking
right?
that.
Yeah.
When y'all were-
So-
Instead
So,
of picking themselves.
The other thing you're going to want to do is, if you notice at the bottom, you see this little button? It says required.
Yeah.
See, it's like a little slider.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to move that. It will turn, I believe it's green. No, it turns purple. You want to move it so that it's highlighted like that, because it will put a star. It'll put a little red asterisk next to that question. It forces the student to answer that question. They cannot move, they cannot complete and submit the form, so they can't just skip putting in their name. So you want that to be a required question, okay?
Did you call yours hallway pass or bathroom pass?
I haven't called it.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to download it. I didn't realize people wasn't on here. I guess because I've been using it so much during the year on the desktop that I just assumed, I thought we'd done some training with it. I guess not. I Googled
Okay.
Docs, but-
So there's your first question. So I'm going to add another question. That's the little plus sign. And I'm going to put in, I'm going to make my second question last name.
Mine's not working off, so it's got the red thing there.
And when you click on the button, it should add, see how I have the red asterisk? That means that's a required question. They have to answer it. They're not allowed to skip it.
So you have a column for first name and last name. Is that
I'm
right?
gonna do one for first name and one for last name. Cause I might have 2 Joes. And if I just put name, they're gonna put Joe. I don't know if it's Joe T or Joe S.
Right.
So I want them to put Joe, and they can put S in the last name or they can put T, but then at least I'll know who it is.
Okay.
You know, if their name is Garcia or Sanchez Garcia or Hernandez, I'm not gonna make them type Hernandez. They can put
Right.
Joe H.
One thing to remember is by separating first name and last name, using your Excel spreadsheet or any spreadsheet, this spreadsheet is much easier to sort.
Sorting.
Yeah.
Sort by name.
Okay.
It is.
And sometimes we want to sort by first name because you can't remember
Then
the
let me
last
do that.
name if it's
Yeah.
new in the year. Or whatever.
But I know I did a lot of documents last year, and there were so many things that I would get that were first and last name together, and it was first name first. And it makes it impossible to alphabetize anything.
Unless you enter into the sheet last name comma first name,
Right.
you're gonna deal with, if you sort, it's gonna sort alpha order and it's gonna use the first character.
If you're doing this in Excel, do you know how to do text to columns? Where if you've got like a first name, last name concatenated into one field, how to split that out into 2 columns within
No, I
Excel?
don't, but I sure wish I'd known you last year.
It's the joy of living with
So
a
how do I
statistical
go?
analyst.
How do I go on
No,
to
that
the
would've
next
been
question?
great.
So it should have a plus on the right hand side. See it at the very top? Sandra, it's a little circle with a plus in it. Down, right there. And that little white
When we're done,
rectangle
give
on
me
the
5
right.
minutes. I'll show you how to do it.
The rectangle. Oh,
Okay.
We'll just
Hang
open up
on,
Excel
hang
and
Okay.
easy.
Okay. See, it's moving.
right.
You have a rectangle on the right side of your screen, all the way over.
Yes, here,
More over.
here.
That little one, yes.
Oh,
There you
this
go.
little flag.
There you go. The T is for text. The little square with the mountains is images. The little play button is to add a video. And then you have two that look like kind of like a sandwich. That's to add a section if you wanted to divide it into sections. Like if you're doing a quiz, you can divide into sections.
So would this be?
Does that function as a page break? Sorry.
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
Would that be like if you were doing a reading passage and you wanted each paragraph in a separate question? That would
Yes.
be a way to separate it?
You would section it. Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, I made that.
And you could put the whole passage in as an image, and then you could like clip sections and make just a paragraph. It would make it a page, so that they only dealt with that one paragraph and they only got questions related to that one paragraph, and they couldn't move on until they answered those. You can force break your quizzes.
Okay.
So Sandra's got her last name, first name in.
Yes.
Are we good?
Yes.
You know how to add. Awesome.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
that.
Hey, well, I know you know how to do 1 + 1.
I know.
Okay. So you're going to get your first name, your last name. Make sure that you make that required, also hit that required default button so that you get it.
Got it.
And your next field is probably going to be, and understand that Google Forms is automatically going to give you a time and a date stamp.
Mhm.
You do not have to ask
Add
for
that.
what day it is. It's going to tell you when it was submitted. So it's going to give you a time and date stamp. So you don't need to say today is Monday. However, the next question, and this was suggested in that form in that article, was, and I'm assuming she was a self-contained class because it's like, what subject are we studying right now? Is it reading? Is it math? Is it she
class are
literally
you in?
started it because she wanted to figure out if Johnny Bobo was trying to skip out on reading, and that's exactly what was happening.
We share like one form per team, then you could say whose
Whose-
class are you in right
Whose
now?
class are you in right now? Or are you in math? Are you in science, social studies? Are you in reading?
But that could be a
for-
multiple choice.
For you, it's probably going to be, are you at, which station are you at? Because you do, as I understand, Read 180 is stations of activities. So you,
So could I put which class?
Which
You could say,
class?
Which class are you in?
which class are you in?
Teacher.
Which
Home
two? I
ed,
just
and then
say-
give it multiple choice.
Should
so
we
it
put-
And
doesn't
then
matter.
that's going to be a
Well,
multiple
just
choice
make it
question.
multiple choice, so
And
you
you
can
could
either put the
do,
teacher's name or put the subject.
Is it- is it-
Teachers, for you guys, I put the teachers.
Unless
That's
you
what I
were
was thinking.
worried that kid always leaves on science day or social studies day, if you're the teacher that has to do the dual subject.
Oh, yeah.
That could be the only advantage of listing subjects.
You know, what,
We're always-
or you could ask the question, what are we learning
Well-
right now?
Well, if
Science,
that's
math,
the case,
social
you
studies.
do Brown Science, Brown Social Studies.
You could
You
do
just
that,
list
too.
it twice.
Right.
But it's kind of
You just
up
call
to
it
you how you
teacher/subject.
want to format that.
Okay. And
Um,
you have to tell it what you want for multiple choice.
Right. You're gonna have to.
So
So,
in the
for
question-
example, I would put, which class are you in right now is the question I'm going to ask. And then I'm going to click on option 1 and I'm going to put reading.
Option 1.
I'm fine. You don't have to turn
And then option 2 might be math. And then option 3 might be science. And option 4 might be social studies. Okay. So mine might look like this. Am I in reading? And I put the teacher's name in parentheses. Especially at the beginning of the year, they don't know the teacher's names. They can't remember.
Some
And
don't
some-
know that
I was gonna say, some of them don't know who you are at the end of the year.
They
Um,
don't know how to spell it.
And they don't know how to spell it. So it's easier to offer both options, like which teacher
And
is
they
it?
also mix this up sometimes.
Add another, yes.
It would be like.
Miss Perry, I'm not Miss Perry.
I like putting the subject for that.
So,
Just don't
so
remember that it's math.
it kind
I
of,
would
it gives
go
you
with
two options as far as the kid can basically figure out where they are. And if they really don't know where they are, if they timestamp it and they put that they're in Miss Perry's class at 10
Well,
o'clock
no, they're not
and
supposed
they're
to.
in Miss Perry's homeroom and they're supposed to be in my class at 10 o'clock,
Right.
we know that 1, they don't know who we are, and 2, that,
or they're trying to pull one over on you.
or they're,
There's that
you know,
too. But I mean, you're going to have things that you can audit on this in a lot of different ways.
So if I put 3 choices on here,
Mhm.
can I go back and edit that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can add more options. You can delete options. Just know, Cynthia, that if you start the year out and you have 3 options and you discover that you need 4, you're going to have to remember that that 4th option wasn't an option when you started the spreadsheet, because when you go to pull data, you might have an other, and there is an option to put other in where they can type something like, I was going to OT,
Library.
or library or whatever.
Sure, I was
Speech.
pulled from class. That
I
would be
was
a good
pulled.
way to-
I was pulled from class. I didn't leave class. So you might say, oh, I forgot about blah, blah, blah. You just need to keep a mental note in your brain that when you created the form, that
Okay.
you didn't have that as an option.
Now I added other, and other is grade.
No, you're,
It's grade. Is it grade for a reason, or will it show up?
What it'll do is it'll offer them, if you add other,
I think you have to click on the text.
what happens is when you click on it, it automatically prompts with a text box so that they have to type something in.
It's here.
Do we want to make this
But I
required
don't think
too?
it was there.
Yes.
Click on it.
You want to make this a required question. Basically, everything we're going to ask them, Sandra, is a required question. But the reason I was pointing that out is if you don't default that, it's going to let them skip it, and you don't want them skipping
And
it.
we don't want them to skip it.
Okay, so which class are you in right now? And the next question might be, where are you going? Like I'm doing a hallway pass, right? So I'm going to do restroom, and then I'm going to do office and library,
Nurse.
nurse,
Locker.
locker might be an option if they need to go to the locker. Well, we have, I let them go to the locker. I know you're a little bit firmer about that. But particularly at the beginning of the year, they need to go to the locker because they haven't been trained. So restroom, office, library, nurse, locker, and then we might say pull out,
And then you can just put in parentheses, speech.
speech.
Principal. I mean, because a lot of times they get pulled from the vice principal and principal, or,
Would that not be counted as office?
well, they don't always know where they're going.
Oh,
Like
okay,
when
fair
they're
enough.
leaving, the principal could be, hey, I want to talk to you.
What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Yeah,
Right.
I heard you.
Sometimes they're told, they're called down, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes the principals do.
Restroom, officers, library, locker.
You could do another, but they'd have to know where they're
Did
going.
you do speech
Oh.
counselor?
Yeah.
I don't know why,
Um,
but for some reason when mine doesn't want me to.
When I put in other, will it have a place for them
Yes,
to write in?
when you activate it, it will actually, if they pick other, that text box will automatically pop up and they'll have to type the response.
That's what-
So this is my categories. Where are you going? Restroom, office, library, nurse. And then I have this one down here, got pulled out. They got pulled out for OT. They got pulled out for PT. They got pulled out for speech. They got pulled out by the counselor. They got pulled out by, I don't know if Howard will
Social
have the
worker.
social worker again this year or not, but there was a lot. And that might be a category to add is I'm going to get my snack.
Right. That might be a whole new category.
That's a whole new category. Oh.
Nurse,
nice if they
office,
could-
bathroom.
I did restroom, office, library, nurse, locker, and pull out.
What were your options for pull out?
Speech, OT or PT, counselor, and called out. Like they got paged, and because they may not know why they're being paged. They've been told to report to the office. They've been told to go down.
Mom's coming to pick him up for a doctor appointment or something. You don't
I'm
know.
not gonna call that office.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If it's a call out to the
It'd be
office.
nice if they could hit a little print button and give them a little sticker.
Scan their face.
Yeah, and then they have their reason right there, and if you're walking around the hall without your sticker.
Yeah, they couldn't
Mm.
say, yeah, I'm going to the
So
office, though I've been standing here for 20 minutes.
Like that.
I've been going to the office, but I walked past Jill's room, Jill Townsend's room 6 times.
Doing laps.
Which
I'm
we had
getting-
one who did that last year. And
Getting my
Mrs. Townsend
steps
would
in.
bring her to me and she'd be like, I've seen her cross past my room 4 times today. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so where are you
Fitbit
going?
Should be a category. Getting my steps in.
All right, so And you can add whatever
Oh.
question.
I didn't put mine says, where are you going? But when I click to go to the next question, it just says, where are you? So I go here, right? That's to the next question. And I said, oh, I must have forgot to type the word going.
Oh, that's because it's truncating it.
Okay.
It'll actually show it up on the thing.
Okay.
It's just truncating it. All right, so you've got where you're going. So I have my 4 questions, and you can add whatever you want.
What did you put in?
I have restroom, office, library, nurse.
First, last, which class are you in and where are you going?
Macro.
Okay.
Is there a way to have them log back in when they return?
That'd be awesome. Well, they could create a new form.
You can create a second form where they scan
this
that.
when they come
They
back,
scan a separate QR code.
but it'll jump to a new.
It'll jump to a separate spreadsheet. But yes, you could do an out sheet and an in sheet, like out is red and in is green, or out is green and in is red, or or one.
Yeah.
Like you could put out above one and in above the other because you might have a
Yeah, so
colorblind
until
kid if
your
you use
school
green
gets an
and red.
RFID, that's what you'd have to do.
Yeah.
There's really not any way to do
I
that.
don't know if I want to do 2 documents.
You know, but
Well,
yes,
then
you could.
You'd be very apt to want to look at all the times, you know. And I just think if it were me and I tried to do all that, then I'm overwhelmed with
I'm
data.
trying to make
Yeah.
my life easier. I'm
Not
Well,
thinking about it.
complicated,
and-
right?
And
Yeah.
to some degree, I think, at least in this, yeah, you'd have to create 2 forms, but still, they're scanning the QR code and they're typing their names. They're doing all the work. You're still instructing. You're still helping kids. You're not having to stop instruction to excuse them. And I think last year, at least for me, with these kids, I could say probably 5 times out of 10, hands being raised were, may I go do this? May I go do that? May I leave? And it just makes, it's one fewer disruption. If you just say, if you need to go, you're going to scan the QR code with your iPad, you're going to go, you're going to come back, you're going to sit down. You're not going to disrupt anybody when you're doing it. You're just going to go.
So it's just going to be an honor system. They scan it. You assume they've scanned it when they get up and walk out the door?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to, I mean, there has to be some trust there.
Something popped up on here that basically took away. It would be nice if they popped up on the screen and this became their pass. You know, like, okay, now it's.
Actually, that's about what we're about to get to.
Okay.
So when you get down to the bottom of your form and you're done, okay, and you've added all the questions that you want to add.
Mhm.
I have to remember how to do this because this is new. You're going to click on where it says responses. It should say accepting responses. That means that it's activated.
I don't know.
Where?
Okay, at the top, you should have questions and responses.
Oh, okay.
You gotta go way back up to the top.
Yeah. You're.
Back to the top.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Oh.
it should default to accepting responses, and you should see the little Google Sheets where it
Yes.
says create a spreadsheet. You want to click on that create a spreadsheet, that little green,
Yes.
looks kind of like a plus or a cross or a flag. And you're going to create a new spreadsheet,
Mhm.
and the spreadsheet's going to be,
And you have to title it here.
you have to title it
Yeah, hallway pass log.
hallway pass log, or, and you're going to click create.
Say again.
So once you've titled it, you're going to click create. And it should open up a sheet. Now it's going to dump everything into a Google Sheet. Okay? All those answers.
If you hadn't
she
done
didn't
that,
open
what
it.
would have happened?
It says now. it's
It would
waiting
just
for
hold them as responses.
Yeah.
And you would have to look at them one at a time.
Oh, and the responses are the
Look at
kids.
them,
Yeah.
Right?
Pop
Yeah.
up.
Yes.
It's the data.
One of the updates to Google Forms is now it basically makes a printable sheet. So you can actually like print it out as a page. It makes a really nice printable form sheet. Okay, so it's waiting for responses. And you can, some of the other things you want to know about is up here, you have the little artist palette that changes your color. So if you don't like purple and you don't want it to be purple, you can make it a different color. The little eyeball is a preview. So if you want to see what it's going to look like, you can click on the preview.
Oh, I do.
So will the timestamp put the day and the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you can see what the kids are going to look at.
Mhm.
And if you look at the bottom, it says submit. Okay. You scroll all the way down. When they click on it, it's going to submit. Okay.
Oh, okay.
What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. And
We're
then
previewing it.
yeah, I can
We're
see
looking
it.
at the little eyeball. It'll let you preview.
Okay.
All right. So the last thing you want to do, and I have to find it.
Okay.
You can also,
What's the little, this is little doohickey?
that's a
That's
preview
your-
so that you can see what the kids are going to actually see when they look at the form.
Yeah.
Or when you give somebody a form, you can see what the form's going to look like.
Mhm.
So that you're like, oh, I meant to move this up here and I didn't. You can actually see what they're looking at. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, if you look at the settings, there's a little cog. Do you see the little gear? It's
Like
next to the,
this?
it's in between the eyeball and the send.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you click on that, there are some options. It says require sign-in, limit to one response. That means that they can only do it once. It's under general, okay?
Mine says restricted to Lake Worth ISD.
Yes,
Mhm.
because you're logged into your Lake Worth ISD, so you have
Okay.
some other options because I'm logged in. So that means that they have to have a Lake Worth ISD.
Edit
And
after
I like
submit.
that because they wouldn't have to put their name in if somehow we linked it to
If the link to their login, it would be their login.
but nothing makes them log in
Right.
to their
Right.
Google.
So you can limit it to just people that are in Lake Worth ISD. I wouldn't, because
If the kid's not logged into
if
Google
they're
Classroom,
not logged into Google Classroom, they're gonna have to.
So I should get rid of that?
I would uncheck that.
it
Okay.
would be nice.
All right. So you can limit them to one response. That means that they can only do it once a class. Like they can only submit one response. They can't go in and do multiples.
I mean, what would prevent them from doing another one? I guess.
And if
You are not
if
allowed
you
to
are
do-
taking a quiz and you only want them to take it one time,
Mhm.
you're going to limit it to one response.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. So respondents can edit after submission or see a summary of responses. If you want them to see everybody else's answers, or if you want them to be able to change their stuff, you're going to check those boxes.
Otherwise, no.
That's generally for quizzes and stuff.
So we can click save.
Edit after submit,
Or we
though.
wanna look at
edit after submit,
presentation.
right?
Well, what I'm looking for, okay, so what you're going to click on is under presentation.
Presentation.
It says show link to submit another response. So if they want to do another one, they don't need to do that. You can uncheck that.
Uncheck that.
But do you see where it says confirmation message?
Yes.
The default is your response has been recorded. You can change that, where Michelle was saying, wouldn't it be nice if their iPad said, it says you have permission to go to
the restroom.
And
The-
that way they can't
to
walk out.
you have permission to exit the class. They have to take their iPad with them, and it basically has that message on the screen.
Which would be great. 'Cause if anybody shows
So
up,
you change the confirmation message to you have
make
permission to leave class.
It'd be nice to say whose class.
Under
too.
presentation?
You could say,
Well, it would be nice if it pulled from the
Confirmation
form to
message.
say to go to the bathroom.
right.
But if you're gonna do a shared document, Michelle, like I could do it for my form, I can say you have permission to leave Mrs. Foster's class.
Or you could say the Miss Carrie Foster Brown's team.
Or you could say the
Okay, so at least they
team.
know what
If you're
they're
gonna share it, you can say you have
doing.
permission to
If it's
leave.
different, if they're in the 180 room, it's
Right.
different than, hey, it's one of these three.
But the confirmation message, so if you really want them to have a pass, have the confirmation message say you have permission to leave our wheel, and they can carry their iPad with them, and it shows that they have permission.
Which is probably better than leaving it open and unexposed anyway. We seem to have less trouble out at the bathrooms leaving it sitting there than I would have thought we had over the last few years. They really have less issue, nor they.
Yeah, when they just set it up on the
Nobody
wall.
really messes with it there, but if
Okay,
they leave
so
them sometimes.
I'm not gonna want my kids to leave with their iPad.
But you don't have to do that. But you
so
can
I
have,
put that here, right? I could say, you have permission to leave the class, please.
And
leave
you
your
can even
iPad
type-
on your desk or
you
something like
can
that.
even type in the confirmation message. You have permission to leave class. Please set your iPad in the chalk tray. Pick it up when you return.
Uh-huh.
Or wherever you can put the directions, the explicit procedure of what you want them to follow in that
Yeah.
message.
Okay.
Like I would probably have, because my chalk tray is right there by the door. I would probably have the kids, I'm going to put the barcode, the QR code right by the door. They're going to scan it. They're going to set it on the chalk tray right next to the door. They're going to pick it up when they come back in.
Well, I might have to still have a physical pass, but we know it's gone when the iPad.
And
is
the
there.
iPad
That way
is
they
there.
don't take the pass without the iPad.
And in theory,
Yeah.
their picture should be on their iPad. You should know who's out of the room.
Then you
Yeah.
just pick it up with a pad.
I read something the other day about they're not gonna have privilege to do all of that. They're not gonna be allowed anymore to put all this stuff on there.
Really?
Yeah,
I
they're
haven't
gonna.
gotten any email.
I read an
Personalization.
email from Lake Worth yesterday. I was cleaning out stuff that
I
says
have no
some new
idea.
guy that's doing it, and he's decided that it's gonna be.
Scott's not there.
I don't know. I don't remember all the
There
details.
have been a whole lot of changes. So
Well, Scott told them if they didn't come up with money, he wasn't coming back. Because he was working his little
Yeah.
Tuesday off and
they were
Something
gonna
about
check the
the
list.
the screen was going to be left blank, and there was some talk about maybe putting the kid's name or a number or something on it, and that was going to be it. So there's going to be no more of kids aren't going to have privilege to change things anymore.
And they shouldn't,
And so
in my opinion.
that's
But
kind of the message I
But let
got.
me ask you about this process again. You say you just said scan the QR code and put it on the thing, but it's really scan the QR code, fill out the form,
Form,
and then
put it
put it
on.
on
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
yeah.
I just
Oh,
want making
okay.
sure we've got the full
but
process.
you know, you have to think about what steps do you want your students to take? Do you want them to put their iPad back on their desk? Because
Right.
that means they're going to walk up to the
No, I
wall,
like the
scan,
idea.
go back, leave.
No, but they could stand there and type. They're used to standing up.
Right,
at
no, I mean-
stations and
she's
stuff.
saying if you want it on your desk.
No, but I like the acknowledgement on the desk because then it's not eligible for anybody
Right.
else to hack.
But I'm trying to explain to the person who's never done classroom
Yeah.
management before
No,
that-
he's asking good
so
questions.
that you have to think, what do I want them to do?
Well-
How do I want them to
And that
leave?
might
Or
even
what's the
change.
least? And it's possibly going to change.
Yeah.
But my theory, my idea is I'm going to have them walk up to the door, scan the QR code, which is going to prompt them to fill out the form because
Yeah.
it's going to take them directly to the form. They're going to fill it out. They're going to set their iPad in the chalk tray, which is right next to the door,
Yeah.
where I can see it.
That way
and
you know how
nobody
many
else
kids
can
are out
mess
and
with
so
it.
forth.
And I know that someone's gone, and I'll know how many are gone because I can count iPads. And they're going to come back, pick it up, and sit down at their desk when they come back in. That's going to be my procedure.
So if
Could you put the
have-
QR code on the desk? Scan. They did shoot it
Yes,
from the desk.
You
I like
could-
that
you
idea.
could print multiple
But they
QR
do
codes and put
share-
them on their desk.
You mean on their desk?
At one on every desk or one every
I have
cluster.
trouble keeping multiplication charts.
I
understand.
But they
No, I
but they
understand.
pick.
They'll
Yeah.
tear them off.
They just
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
they
It
don't
doesn't
mean
matter
to.
how nice
They
Well,
just
then I
they
guess
don't
you can't
need
go to the
to.
bathroom.
They don't mean to. They just start.
That would be a good thing. If these get picked off. and
Because the
yours
other thing
disappears.
is if you had multiples, you could have, here's a QR code for the bathroom, here's a QR code for this, here's a QR code for that. You just scan that one and boom, they're gone.
Huh? Yeah, that would no.
Takes out a
But
lot of
that's
the form.
multiple spreadsheets.
Yeah, it is.
And they're saying they don't want to deal with them. I mean,
No, I get
you
it.
I like
you
this.
happy spreadsheet man
Yeah, I
can do
know.
as many
I get it.
spreadsheets as you want.
I'd like to start right here.
So
No,
do
I get it. I get it.
Do I leave the check on show link to submit another response?
Okay, so what that's going to do is, if let's say
Yes.
that
Oh, can I have
you're
that
doing a
back?
survey,
Of course.
where that would be useful is if
Hey,
you're
really
doing
all I
a
want is
survey,
like a fourth of it. So could you
and,
cut that half in here?
you
Thank
want them to
you.
be able to, you
Do I
have
need
one
to tip you
iPad
on
and
the
you
way
want
out?
them to be able to share it,
Yes.
they can, then they can do another response.
I asked.
For this
right?
purposes, they don't need to do
Yes.
another response.
So I can uncheck that.
Yeah, you can
Now,
uncheck
I
that.
have another question, Lindsay. On mine, at the bottom, there's two like empty questions. How do I edit that to get
You
rid
are
of
sweet.
those?
Thank you. That's
Wait,
perfect.
wait.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I can't find an edit unless this is it here.
If you want to get rid of them, click the trash can.
Oh well, duh.
I
Thanks.
know. I have.
Imagine that.
I
A
feel that
trash
way
can
all
that
the time.
Throws away the trash.
Hey,
Hey.
well, but if you don't see it or you don't realize that that's what the trash can is for, it's a
You know,
that's
I went to it and I'm like, okay, that's
yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question.
Question, yes.
If I start doing this and I realize that I want to change the procedure part, right?
Yes.
Then I'm going to go back in to the response part
Yes.
and change that last response, and it won't change any of the data.
No, it's
It
not
won't,
going
like,
to
create
change.
a new sheet.
No.
It's just going to change that one part.
Yeah, it's just going to change what they see when they finish.
Okay.
Do you want more coffee?
No, I'm fine, thank you. So it's just going to change what they see. Forms also uses quizzes. So if you, it makes it a quiz, and they've updated Google Forms to better quizzes. That was one of the things that they premiered at ISTE this year. I haven't played with it a whole lot, but I've seen some of it. If you use Flubaroo, you don't, Marvin does, but I don't know of anybody else in our hallway that does. I have a whole chart of like what you can do with Flubaroo and what you can do. But if you wanted to make this a quiz, you can actually have kids respond to a quiz. And you would go into that quiz tab and highlight, make a quiz, and it would, and you can tell them, you can pick all these options, like it tells them what grade they got immediately. You can enter the answers, and it'll auto score for you.
You have completely lost me. So from here,
Do you, okay,
where do I go to
go
see
into
that?
responses,
Responses.
and you'll have 3 things at the top. General, assuming it wakes up. Did you lose your connection?
No, I don't think I did, but it's been slow.
Okay,
I haven't
so,
updated in a while.
so Sandra, if you look at mine, you have 3 tabs at the top. You have
so when
general,
I-
presentation, and quizzes.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay. I
you
got it.
can actually create, like if you want to know right away what math facts they know, you can create in Google Forms a quiz. And then
so
you
I
would go
do the same
into
process, but when I got to this part, I would click
Quizzes.
instead.
and then you change that little bar and you'd make it a quiz, and then it prompts you for a whole bunch of things. It can actually auto score your quizzes, and it will download them straight into Skyward for you.
And if you do that, can you time it?
Yes,
So like you could do your math facts and
In a
give them
minute.
a certain amount of time.
yes. You can set a time. You can set a timer on it. So
If I could just get back. If I ever get out.
So once you've set your confirmation message, once you have all your questions in, then you're going to save, and it goes immediately live. It will take responses. And mine says accepting responses, waiting for response.
Okay, that's
Okay.
where I'm at.
So
That's why it won't let me.
let's
change
say I made it for my whole team. Okay.
it. Mhm.
And the minute I click on that untitled, I just clicked on that. You notice how it changed it to hallway pass? Because that's what I titled it as. The minute it says all changes saved in Drive, so this is automatically saved to my Drive. If I want to send this to Michelle and I want to send it to Marvin, I click on send, and it comes up as an email.
Mine went back to my whole thing. To my whole drive.
Drive.
So I need to go here and go back to classroom.
It should have your tabs. Look at your
Right
tabs.
here. Right? For response? I don't know what I'm doing here.
That's okay.
It's okay.
It should, in your tabs at the top, you should have your form. Okay. Untitled form. Let's try and pick the tab. Come on. There you go.
Okay.
All right. So you're all done. You've saved it. You're going to click send.
Oh,
Now it comes up like an email. So you have 3 options. Okay. The little envelope means you're going to send it as an email. You're going to send it to their email address.
yes.
The little paper clip is a link. So if you want to send a hyperlink and you want to go into your Outlook and send as email, you can just copy the link. It's going to give you a link. Okay.
So is this not like docs and sheets and that, where when you share it, it just shows up in there? If I share it, I have to click it. I have to go to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you send them an email, it's going to send them, it's going to send them an email. This form has been shared with you. Please click this link to go to this form. Okay. If you send them the link, you're typing the email, because, if you don't want to use, if in Lake Worth, we use Outlook, which is a Microsoft product. This is going to send it to their Google address. Like if you start typing in names, and not everybody checks their Gmail for their classroom. Like yours is Sandra.Belhumer.
But your Google account is directly linked to the Lake Worth Outlook account, so they all show up in there.
They should.
Okay.
They don't.
Okay.
Mine, I had to go looking for them.
Because I never get anything in my Google account.
Okay, so I got a
It all
question.
goes-
Let's say that you're down the hall from me, which I'm really terribly sad that that's not going to be the case.
Where are you
Is that
going? What?
Oh,
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
If you tell me, hey, I've sent you something, blah, 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 I want you to use it. Can I go straight to Google and it's going to be there?
Yes, it will be
And so-
under shared with me.
So I don't necessarily have to look at my Google account, right?
It will be, once it gets sent to you and it goes, and you open it up once, it'll be in your shared with me drive. It'll be under shared with me, not my documents. If you create it, it'll be under your docs. If somebody else sends it to you, it's in the
gonna be
shared
under
with me.
And so what you're telling me is that when we type in an email address here, we can't type in the Lake Worth email address because it doesn't get it.
You can, but it may,
May or may not work.
When you type in the lake, when you type in, like mine is C. Hickerson, if I type that in, then if you type that in,
Yes.
when I get that email, then I have to get permission from you
to open
access
it.
that account or
Okay.
that file.
Okay.
So if you send it to the Google account, you don't need to go through that second step.
Right, it just automatically opens. And then the little arrows that are like this are if you wanted to embed it in a web page, it's an embed code. But to make the QR code, what you're gonna want is that link, because that link is what's gonna create your QR code.
So we need the link
You need the link, you need the
Link.
paperclip.
to make QR.
And so what Sandra was saying is while I was in Chicago, right before I left for Chicago, I got called for an interview by Burleson ISD for a learning technologies coaching position.
Oh, I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
wow.
I didn't know.
So
I'm
you-
Well,
sorry.
it's not a done deal yet. So I interviewed, I left for Chicago. They called me, they sent me an email. I got called back for a second interview. I interviewed while I was in Chicago via Google Hangout on Thursday. They offered me the job Friday at 7:30 at night. I contacted Karen on Saturday when I got back. Lake Worth has not yet released me for my contract.
They will.
There is a new person in HR, and Karen called me yesterday and said she talked to them, and the initial response was no, they were not releasing me for my contract.
But you know what? You could call back to Karen and say, could you let them know that I spoke to you at the end of the year with
Well,
the family situation and da-da-da-da,
she-
and tell the HR
She had
person.
said to me, she said, Lindsay, when she talked to me on Saturday, she said, there are new people in HR. I don't know them. She said, this is the usual process is that they release you pending us being able to find a suitable replacement.
Right.
When she talked to them on Monday, the initial response was that she said, I have a teacher who would like out of her contract. She's been offered another position. And initially HR said no. And then Karen said, well, the process in the past, since you're new, has been that we'll release you pending suitable replacement. And the HR was kind of like, oh, well, and Karen said, and this is a step up for her. It's not a lateral move.
Karen needs to tell her.
And-
she discussed it with me before the end of the
And
year.
so,
Yeah, I think
and
that's
so
a big deal.
Karen, as of yesterday, Karen thought that because it is a vertical move for me and not a lateral move for me, that they will likely let me out of my contract, but
That's
it is
usually
not a done deal. So at this point, and one of my friend's daughters, they were out of state. They just moved back to Texas. She taught 5th grade. She taught 6th grade. She's always taught Title I. She has incredible test scores. She's a great person. She's a great teacher. She's looking for a job. And I said, go talk to Karen right away. She already talked to Karen yesterday, and Karen's checking her references. So there's a very good chance that the person that's going to take my spot, and she's really, really great. I mean,
I don't want
And she worked with Mary too. Was she now
Me
married?
either.
So that'll be- she'll know her.
yeah, and she met both
Otherwise,
of them
I'd love
yesterday.
to
So,
come in.
so
I'd still
it's
like to come
likely
in.
that, if I leave, if they let me out. But I haven't cleared references for Burleson yet. I haven't heard that I've cleared references. They're still processing my paperwork, and I have to be released from my contract. So
Right.
it's not by any means a done deal. It is, but is it my dream job? Yeah, it's my dream job.
Yeah.
And
How
would
far
I
is
be
that
really,
from
really
here?
excited? Yeah, I'd be really, really excited to do it. So
About 45
It's about
minutes.
40,
it's
45
contraflow
minutes.
all the way, so it's pretty easy drive.
it's
If
about
you go
40.
around the loop, it's helpful.
That's what we
Yeah,
did.
we did. We went around the loop.
Because I
and it
drove
was
her
really
for her
super fast.
interview, and it was an 8 o'clock interview, and we just
So,
zipped right around.
if I leave, am I still available? Absolutely. Will I still do day of discovery? Absolutely. I'm not going to be that far away, but it gives me the opportunity I would have 4 schools that I would handle. So I would visit, for the first 6 weeks, it'd be 1 school on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday. and then Friday in the office with a meeting, and then Friday afternoon to work on whatever projects. But the expectation is that I'm presenting, and that I attend ISTE and that I attend TCEA.
Oh my gosh,
and-
that is such a hard shift. Dang.
And when I interviewed on Thursday, the thing I really liked was they are increasing the office from 3 instructional technology specialists to 5. Their goal is to have 1 at every school that they have in the district.
Oh my.
But they're increasing their team from 3 to 5 because right now they have 3 handling 15 elementaries, 5 middles, and 3 high schools. So they're trying to split it out so everybody has basically 5 schools. Or I'm sorry, 4 schools, because it's 20 schools total. Maybe I have the numbers all wrong, but it's 20 schools total, so everybody have 4. And they're trying to spread the work around. And so what they did was I interviewed with the department lead and the head of the department, the head of the division initially, and then for the second interview, I interviewed with those 2 plus the other 2 people I would be working with. And I was really, really pleased with the direction they're going with technology. I mean, it was just, I was like,
It's a good sized district too.
That's
It's
awesome.
growing, but it was also suburban, kind of like, it was like, Burleson was a lot like Eagle Mountain.
Mount Saginaw.
And they
Mhm.
grew up there on the opposite sides of the loop, and just,
Well, and I said, if Lake Worth had this job, I would jump on it, but they don't have it. They need it, but they don't have it.
They need a lot of things. They don't need more administrative positions.
yeah, the 5 they've created.
So, but am I still going to be available to answer questions? Absolutely. But I basically will be doing what I'm doing right here with schools.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
so
good.
It must feel good to get.
I think
people
it's
gonna
on,
happen.
even if you're not
Yes.
released, because I think you will do this, but
I think you will
you
too.
Yeah.
should feel good that you.
but
Lake Worth has never been since I've been there, never been the kind of district that wants to hold somebody that doesn't
But
want to be there.
but they've
But-
changed everything.
I know that,
That's
but-
in the world.
Administration is all new, so it's
Yeah.
kind of scary because you don't.
that's what
cool.
Karen said is, I don't know these people. She said, this is the way it's worked in the past. And I said,
They
and I would be
need a new
totally
HR
happy to
person
come back to
really
Howry
bad.
and work.
Their
work with
theory
everybody.
was always, we don't want to keep somebody. who's
Well,
on
no,
the-
it does
I mean,
depend on.
Like they
You're
were-
right.
Financially for our family, it's a better decision. It really is. It relieves some of the financial stress because it does pay more. And that's the only reason that I even was looking was, our financial situation.
Mhm.
And it just happened. I mean, it happened really quickly.
Well, good for you.
So-
I'm excited for you.
So anyway,
Okay, so we now have this send a form, and it has that link, and this is
right.
how
So
we're
you're
gonna
going to
make
click on the
QR.
link and you're going to
Click on the
copy
link.
that link code. Okay.
And then copy the link code.
And then you're going to have to
Says-
open a new tab. And you can type in QR code
That's your
generator.
new tab up top, right, through your browser?
I think so, yeah.
QR code generator. I use qrstuff.com, but it depends on which one you like. I like
Well, you haven't
qrstuff.com.
copied it. You may have to get out of that.
Oh, get out of it.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. It doesn't, yeah, because sometimes it doesn't like opening. Yeah.
Now we
QR
need,
stuff, you said?
I like to use qrstuff, one word, .com.
so we need to, okay. Q
R stuff. Poor Michelle's stuck
dot
with the
com.
slow Wi-Fi.
Well, it's the
QR
iPad
stuff.
itself.
Oh, what, is it an iPad 1
Yeah, I don't
or
know.
2?
They didn't give us the option when we were indicating what our iPads were. There was never an iPad 1 option to register. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure mine's a 1.
I didn't know what
But
mine
it
was
is-
either.
It is a 2 still. Okay, but
It's the first generation too, probably. So qrstuff.com, and what you're going to do is you have all those data types. It says number 1.
Mhm.
You're going to leave it defaulted to website URL,
Yeah.
and you're going to click under number 2 where it says content. You're going to paste in your URL.
So I go to where it says www,
Yep.
and then I don't know how to paste. How do I do that?
Typically you long hold. There.
Oh,
This is a double click.
okay. It's a
Boom.
double click.
Sometimes it's a long hold and sometimes it's a double
And
tap.
I don't know that it actually took all that, did it?
Okay.
Was that the end of the?
I don't know.
And you can shorten your URL if you want
Did
to.
you, well, you did the cat.
When you
I don't know.
shorten it,
I don't
your
either, so
QR
let's-
code is not as busy.
Let's go back
Were you
to.
shortening it using some other app or just
No.
by clicking?
Here's a.
When in Google Forms, you can actually googly short it.
You just shorten it.
Uh-huh.
See, I'd be doing all this on a
A
computer,
lot
not
of
on a
times the QR
tablet. There are
code
things
itself
I
is
love
not
tablets
as
for,
busy. You know, it doesn't have
Well-
but I'd much rather do it on a hard
That's why it's
station.
Right,
easy.
right, I understand.
Why isn't it?
Good.
And then just download it.
And then you're going to
It's not-
download
it's
your
not
QR
weird.
code, and that's what you're going to print and put on your
You've
little
got
piece
so
of
many
paper
different
that says
Things going.
checkout or to leave the room
That's
or
not-
whatever
so
you want to
let's
put.
Open.
Scan
you,
this.
Why aren't you opening up?
Hit your reload.
It may just
Yeah.
be the bandwidth of all of us a little more.
No, it shouldn't be unless I've got 3 kids upstairs all streaming videos.
Which happens.
Well, there's one that's not.